Hey guys, it's lycheepunnet, still with wkim, and we've also been joined by two others who want there to chime in on our new pawn overlords. Introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, I'm Katsu.
Hey, I'm Thomas.
Those guys are Katsu and Thomas. They'll be chiming in. We'll
I'll
be trying
be
to keep this video short for people who are on the go and can't be bothered listening to me and our rambling for, I think it was like
two
nearly
and a
two and a
half
half
hours.
hours. Yeah. So basically, the conclusion we've come to is this set is meta warping, meta defining, top tier, and I expect to see a lot of it. And it won't just be hype; it'll stay around in the meta.
Until emergency ban lifts in December, which I, for one, truly expect to occur. But
Yeah, I
Yeah.
honestly expect it to happen. It's a little more all in than Nisekoi, but other than that, it fits the bill, and it even has anti-damage and a really strong advanced summon. Whereas Nisekoi just kind of plodded along until they got Marika
yeah,
out.
I think this is probably the strongest set since Nisekoi was printed, which is which is saying something.
I would consider saying Nisekoi is actually stronger than this set unbanned,
Yes, I
but
would still agree because I think Triple Marika is way stronger than Triple Yami, but
it's close.
it's
So yeah, we're obviously talking about yellow green as the meta build. The other decks are like whatever. They're
they're
okay.
acceptable builds. But
It's alright.
when
There
you're
you
talking
have
about
it, guys. When the comparison point is three markers, you know something's broke.
Pretty much.
but
I don't think it's quite as stupid as Three Americas, as we said already, but it's comparable. You get five extra instances of damage, and you're immune to both Compass and Money Counter. So at this point in time, Compass is okay because you're still possibly filtering out cards from your deck. But in the event that you mill a Climax with Compass, it's suddenly not a good play,
yeah,
which
You
is not
also
a good
mentioned
thing.
it's a very relevant trigger for
Oh yeah, yeah.
things
You
like
can.
anti-burn. Oh
the irony
boy.
is also that it's in Wind Trigger, which means that like all of those effects that should be countering this card aren't necessarily going to be able to do that either.
Pretty much, which is very frustrating. Like Log Horizon and Shana don't auto counter this because they can just trigger a wind climax some point during their attacks, and suddenly all of your meta gaming has been for naught.
So this deck is going to be very frustrating. I can't see the build being that flexible though. I feel like
I feel like there's room to change the deck and change the game plan, but it's always going to be four level three Yami, some amount of money counter.
some amount of Maya's to hand filter,
Yeah, like
some
there's
number
going
of
to be.
healers.
I think that a deck is customizable within limits, but it's just like Nisekoi Key. There's not really many places to go. And after a few weeks, we'll have found what would be the quote unquote optimal game plan.
Yeah,
People will shift their decks to reflect that. And then this deck might shift to reflect that, and it goes on until it's all banned.
which it most likely will get hit.
Yeah, like I don't normally overreact to things. I don't think Girlfriend Beta is worth banning. I didn't think a lot of Kantai was worth banning, except for Akatsuki. I didn't even think Junior was worth banning, but my locals didn't
Oh
catch on
God.
to that.
Remember when
My locals didn't catch on to that. That's okay. In my defense, I just hadn't experienced it much.
remember when people were
Um,
saying this set was worse than Girlfriend Beta? Oh boy.
also at that point, I was yeah. Let's not get into that because those arguments were yeah. Let's just not get into it. So now that we've decided it's going to be a pretty top tier build, what do you guys foresee changing to do something about it?
Well, I for one am tier whoring.
Yeah.
Besides that, most of the decks that I already own are gonna be super poorly positioned, and nothing I can do to those decks will make them less poorly positioned at all.
Well, I feel that like if you have like terraformers, for example, if they're ramming their yummies in, you can just clock kick them.
The Yummies are clock kickable, but only on
Yeah.
climax combo, and that's if they don't run 2-1 counters. If they do run 2-1 counters, I still don't get over.
No, I mean when they attack you,
Oh,
because they're only 10-5s
if they're only
on
yeah, they're only
offense.
10-5. Assuming they don't have a climax, I can 2K counter to kill them.
Mm.
But that's assuming I have both of the 0-0s and none of the 1-0 back rows. The 1-0 back rows lose me 500 power on each 1-1.
Yep. What about you guys?
Um Blue Girlfriend Beta can't really deal with this at any point. Really, it's kind of more of a playstyle change, really. I think it's gonna have to be more about pushing for bigger damage advantage so I can feel good, somewhat good,
Feel
as
good.
good as I can feel going to level 2, where I'll hopefully have an okay time against advanced summon Yamis, but like
It's a very
Yeah,
valid
it's-
point. Something a lot of
it's-
people overlook.
the 4K wall stuff is definitely going to be something to consider. But it's just yeah, this set's really good, and I'm still going to be trying to figure out ways to deal with it with my own decks.
What about you, Katsu?
I'm gonna agree with Thomas. I definitely think that it's gonna be more of a playstyle change. I don't really think, cause like I personally main Idolmaster, and like the core of my deck is just like running I wants and just trying to trying to salvage to get selective advantage, and I can't do that if they got that Hatsukaze clone in the back, so it's like. Well, everything just kind of falls apart, and I can't wall because like they got that huge Yami sitting there at level 1.
Don't you have any event counters?
Right.
Okay.
Honestly, I think
Talk about fighting
I'm-
against Jupiter, right?
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Well, you
I
also have
think-
sidetracked. Not that that's actually worth the spots.
Not
No.
particularly.
Yeah, okay.
I think
Fair enough.
IMAS is particularly shafted by this deck, actually.
Yeah,
I
think
mean,
that
like,
it has
any
a real
deck-
problem.
Any deck that depends on like just keeping field just depends very much so on like high powered level 1 costless level 1s. Well, just doesn't really. The Yami is just really good against those decks because
Not
it
really.
just-
Yami
well-
can't attack into the bigger ones. Like, say, Rider Dot Deck, Terraformers, Railgun. Yami
that's-
can't attack into them.
that's true, I suppose. But I feel that
They
Yeah,
side. That's-
Yami
so
is
they
safe
side.
on
you
the
can just side. Yeah,
defense
you can just
against
side
all
with the
of those,
Yami in
though.
that case.
And then they have to ram in and you win the
Yeah.
war eventually.
The biggest thing about Yami, though, is that she is a 2-soul beater. Sighting is not a problem.
Mhm.
So, like, it
If
doesn't
God
really...
forbid you draw the Wind Trigger Climax and play it multiple turns in a row.
That's not going to happen. You're going to be down so many cards. I can't see that being a thing that's going to matter.
I agree.
I mean, if you can,
it's
if
a
you
pretty
just
huge
draw it.
hand deficit to, like, actually make the 1-3 change happen.
Yeah, like, you guys talk about it as if they just get the 10k for free. They don't. They lose a lot of hand.
Because you have to commit a lot to the field as well.
That's fair, but
That's
they
true.
also have a way to generate advantage back.
By punching themselves.
Over
I
and
know,
over
so
and
I
over.
guess the costless search combo, but that's another place you can attack them. Like, you can just stop them from getting their searches, because all they are like maybe 8-5.
The biggest you can get them to is 9-5 in the center slot.
Cool, I guess. That requires them to have the 1-1 support, though,
That requires them to have the 1-1 support.
Yeah.
and another assist on the field.
With only the 1-1 support and no other assist, 9k is the limit, 8-5 without being in front of it.
Yeah.
So-
I'm just gonna run more soul rushy stuff, and I'm gonna.
I mean,
Well,
if
run-
I'm going back to Soul Rush, I'm just going to play Jode. Like, that's all there is to there. Hell,
Yeah,
I
I might
can
just-
clock kick Yami at level 2.
I think it's
Who
important to make
cares?
it less. Yeah, it's important to
If you
make it less favorable for them to bring
I mean-
the level 3 out.
I mean, one of the
Yeah,
big things
if you
is,
can get it, yeah.
like, with Jode.deck, like, I can actually just clock kick Yami at level 2. Like, I'm 14k, I'm not afraid.
Sounds
Yeah, this-
strong.
This deck is not unbeatable, but remember that the Telovru players can adapt as well. Like
They can start
if-
running 2-1 vanilla counters if they're, like, getting concerned about this kind of stuff. It's like,
You have to look at the disadvantages of the combo, and the disadvantage is that you punch yourself in the face repeatedly.
twice.
Yes. So if you can capitalize on that, and they have to clock a climax as well, which means that that's one climax on their deck. So if you can rush and get so far ahead of them that it's dangerous for them to try and just kind of dawdle around, then that can be a way to get ahead.
I mean, Katsu and I were playing a game earlier where it's like, he just hit me straight to level 2 from level 1, and I just kind of
Yeah.
dirtled around for a really long time. I didn't do the change, and it was still hilariously close. Because ultimately, your plan B is just that strong. If your
Well,
plan
yeah.
A is get a level 3 Yami.
I wouldn't play that as my plan A, but I don't know. I'm not even playing this deck as my main deck, so I'm not one to talk. I'm honestly just going to slot the anti-encore combo that won US Nats into my deck, and that will hopefully take care of any big-ass Yamis. I'm reading anyone buying into Tulavru is doing it because they want to advance summon Yamis, and
Well,
2-1 Yuiko
yes,
takes care of that very, very well.
that is the dream. Like advanced summoning Yamis is like why I'm playing the deck as well. But I'm fully aware of like the deficits for going for this kind of thing, and I won't always go for it. Like it's not something you can
Yeah.
assume you should go for every time. Like
You said you're running 4, I'm running 2.
I'm running 4. This is my game plan. I want to make this happen as much as possible.
Oh, God.
And I am still aware that I'm not going to go for it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as with most like power plays, there's usually at least some risk involved. So, it's definitely like a really really strong game plan, and it's like a very fine line between both players in this aspect, I guess, because it depends a lot on the timing of when each player hits level 1, of course, who cancels more at level 0, etc.
Yeah, fair enough. And I guess we can just top this off just by what do you guys think the best few cards in each color are? Like, what do you think?
All right.
Well, let's see.
So let's go. Best card in yellow. Are we in agreement? Level 3 Yami.
Yeah. Followed by?
Followed by
Are you sure
level
that
3
minus?
Maya. And then money counter.
Really? Level 3 Maya? I'd definitely go money counter.
Money counter is either second or third, and then Maya's probably third or second, depending on how you want to put it.
Level 3 Maya is like a side. I would put the 0-0, the Yami that saves a character.
That card is really good. That card is really good.
And the 1-0 advance summon. I put both of those ahead of
You put
Maya.
you put the 1-0 advance summon ahead of Maya.
Damn right I do.
Damn.
Maya's not that great in my opinion.
I don't know, Matt.
She's
I
not
like
just
digging for
biased.
climaxes and money counter, so.
Yeah, well, you do that with Yami anyway.
But I can do 5 cards instead of 2.
You're going to get 6 because you're going to play 3 Yamis.
But no, that's fair. The Yami is definitely by far the best card in yellow, though. And then money counter is probably the second best card in yellow.
Not really. No argument here.
There's not a lot of contention there. All right, green. 0-0 anti-salvage.
Wrong. 0-0 Yui. She's best to go.
The vanilla?
Oh man.
Yeah, let's go with the vanilla. All right, so number 1 is tied. All of Yui's cards, and then number 2 is the Hatsukaze.
Sure.
Clearly.
And then number 3, I'm going to give it to the 1-0 Taiyaki combo.
I'd go with
I'll
the
give it to the
Brainstorm.
climax, man.
The Brainstorm? Brainstorm is pretty broken, too.
There are a lot of good green cards. Most of them Yui.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Talk yet again about how the Stock Soul and the Gold Bar share names. Climax combo.
That's just so silly.
Ugh. Can I have that as my like third best card? That climax.
Yeah,
The
sure, man.
climax, the gold bar.
Oh, I don't think that's incorrect.
That's
I think
fair.
having that
Actually, it's so absurd.
having that flexibility is like super worthwhile.
I reckon. What about red?
For red, my first pick goes to the Brainstormer, just because it goes into every deck.
Yes, I
My
have to agree.
second pick goes to the level 1 Bomb, because it's super flexible in that deck.
I kind of like the 1-1 event, but
And then the 1-1 Event's probably my third pick, because that event is a +1 for pay 1 clock yourself.
I also really like the 0-0 Momo that top checks as a field counter, but I think that one's probably more personal preference
It's
than
a
anything.
top reveal draw ditch. Which is still good. The question is like if that's necessarily better than like for instance the TD Momo that lets you start up pay 1
That's
ditch
the one that
climaxes.
has, that's a good question actually, but I think it's pretty close, depending on what your level 1 lineup is.
Yeah.
Alright, in blue, we don't really have much to pick from, but
The
level
Free Fresh,
3
I
and
guess.
Free Fresh, yeah. Free Fresh is actually better than level 3, so...
Yeah, free fresh level 3 and then 2-1 event counter.
Dude, what about Celine?
Actually, blue has a very high density of good cards, now that I think about it.
Relative to the number of cards printed for it, sure. I mean,
Relative to every other color, like yellow has so much jank.
It also
Green
is-
has a lot of... Like,
Dude,
green
that
has a lot of
minus 1
cards that aren't-
soul Maya is It's so dank.
But yeah, it
Oh.
has so many good cards. Like, red has all of these. I don't even know. Like, these cards that are lost or just bad. And green has a lot of cards that aren't UE, so blue has a really high density of good cards.
Yeah, it does. But it's just like is in the unfortunate position where it's like half the cards are super off trait and just can't be run in these other decks.
That's a good point.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess we're all in agreement that yellow-green is going to be the flavor of the several months until the ban list.
Well, unless
Yeah.
like the new sets are more heinously broken.
I'd be
Cinderella
very
Girls.
surprised. Yeah.
I mean,
I
Cinderella
hope-
Girls literally got the Jupiter event from IMAS in their TD, so
Well, I hope the TD is the most broken part of it.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Maybe.
Like, have you seen Persona 4 English?
That's different
Oh,
though.
man.
That's
How is that different? Same company.
Wait, what? No, that's Bushiroad America, man. Not Bushiroad Japan.
Yeah, but they're all the same cards.
yep. I don't know, man. This deck is going to be truly absurd for quite some time.
I'm not looking forward to playing against it, but I'm very
Oh,
prepared.
please, no.
I'm prepared to lose to it.
You should switch to a
Control your
deck
cancels, dude.
like Pawn.
Yeah, I gotta control my cancels.
Switch
That's the answer to Tolo.
You can always switch
Yeah.
to porn dot deck. You can also just switch to a
The
soul
one
rush deck.
time that I won against Tolavru was when I canceled when I triple canceled twice in a row.
Well, that's the other weakness of the deck. The Yami going off is actually fairly one time only. Sure, you can.
Oh
do
no,
another
Yami didn't go
time.
off either time.
Oh, well. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yami only goes off once, really, unless you draw another climax. But do you really expect your level 3 not very bigs to not be clock kicked, or do you expect yourself to be alive after? Well, I guess you have money counter.
One of the big things about clock kickers actually that gets really, really frustrating is that the 3/3 money counter is splittable. You can assign the 1500 power wherever the hell you want.
That is interesting, I guess. But
So it's potentially possible to prevent a clock kick because of some awkward attacking orders.
I don't know. The best clock kicks are all way too big for that.
I don't know if you're gonna catch anyone off guard with that.
I don't know, man. 3/5 counters is a lot of power.
It's 1-5.
Well, plus the 2k from the other counter because you might as well go all in.
What's 2K counter?
The 1/0 2k counter.
But what?
Go all in. Use both because you can
They'll-
like pump power somewhere else and then use it.
Yeah.
But they'll just clock kick first.
Well, if they clock kick first, what are you money countering for?
I don't understand.
I'm assuming they have something besides a clock kicker on the field.
Well, I'm just assuming that the Yamis will never be big enough to withstand a clock kick unless there's level support behind, and that's not necessarily guaranteed.
No, actually, I find that very unlikely. I don't think level supports are that mandatory.
Yeah, it'll probably be a 1-1 support and then a 500 assist Hatsukaze.
Yeah.
So basically, they're going to be really tiny, and they're going to get clock kicked, and you won't really have another shot. Which brings me to my actual point. If you can survive their rush, aka you punch them to the point where they're forced to rush, they have no other choice, then you might be able to close out the game. That's another way you can fight the deck.
Classic Soul Rush.
Pretty much.
One of the things that makes it kind of obnoxious is just that the level, like, they do only run 1k1 climaxes or plus global stock climaxes. So it's like, if your deck has 2k1 draw in it, it can get kind of rough.
I guess one thing I could do with my blue friend deck is transition from doors to pants, because I can easily make that switch. Just pants back climaxes to play every turn. And pants is just very good with the deck, period, I think. And doors will become largely irrelevant against that deck. So that is one change I could possibly make.
It depends how big it is in your local meta.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I think that's enough about this incredibly broken deck. You can expect to see it topping both your locals and in Japan, where they never fail to jump on the next most broken thing.
3K yen yamis, boys.
It's 40k. They're going on 40. They're going for 40k consistently
Signs.
on Yahoo auctions.
Signs. I'm talking about regular yamis, dude.
So 30 and 3k are very different.
Did I
You
say
said
30?
three.
I meant
You said
3. I said
you
3, I
said
think.
30.
Did he say
Did I
30?
say 30?
You
Oh, I
did
meant
say
3K.
30.
I meant 3K. I'm sorry.
3,000. That's like as expensive as Marco from Leafs.
I think it's
Right,
actually
right.
no. Marco was 35 or
Yeah.
3.5.
That was ridiculous. But yeah, this set is heinously broken.
I think it's very strong. I wouldn't use words like that because you can still, cancel and win.
Okay.
But
Heinously broken within the context of a game with as much luck as this game does have, as much luck
yeah,
as you
I
can
do
control.
agree. This
Like-
is a very consistent combo to end the game in
Like,
in
the
Weiss.
only deck I can argue being potentially stronger than this right now is, like, maybe Nisekoi, just because the pure power of Marika still compels you. But,
I
like,
think Marika's a lot weaker because there's so much
anti-damage
sack
running
countering
around, and
There's
sack counters
this
just...
set has anti-damage.
It's like between anti-damage and sack counters that are all run because Marika is popular, I could still say there's an argument for True Lover being the strongest deck in Weiss right now.
I wouldn't be too surprised if it was. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be too surprised. It's just you can't stop the damage.
So much.
That's ridiculous. Like, I'm kind of happy because Kankole players just kind of lean undeservedly on their 1/1 anti-damage counters, and this will punish that. But Compass is still somewhat effective against it.
Yeah, you still mill damage.
Yeah, it obsoletes a lot of the money counters unless they like front row on Maya for some reason.
Kagikai also has a field day against these yamis too, since the field will generally be weak on the turn they play
But
them.
if you're running a Kagikai as your choose 1 of 3, you're conceding a lot of other matchups that become a lot less pleasant.
That's true, but I'm just basing that state.
That's very debatable. Are you really going to run Gates in a meta where there's Tulavru that has Hatsukaze?
This is very true. The fact that Hatsukaze does exist now in True Lover makes a very strong argument for Kantai players to metagame the
Exactly.
metagame and switch back
It's
to a
the threat.
Kagikai.
The very threat
I
of
think-
Hatsukaze will stop
I think
people
Japanese
running
players
Gates.
have been making the Kagikai choice for a while now,
It's
actually.
greedy as hell.
Yeah, they are, but like it's their flavor.
Their most popular choice, to my knowledge, was still Hatsukaze.
Was it? I
because
think
I
most
think-
of the lists have
No,
been Kagikai choice.
Hatsukaze is most popular. Akagi's had a lot more showing than expected. Yeah, but I think that'll probably do it for the recap show. If you guys like what you hear, please leave us a comment, like, subscribe, etc. And we hope you enjoyed this set review of what is undoubtedly a meta warping set.
Yep.